Hi, and welcome to another episode of Watch and Roll. Today we're going to take a look at the Citizen Signature Perpetual Calendar BL1258-53L, other known as Courageous. The Citizen Signature Collection watches mark the entry of Citizen into high-end watchmaking. The Signature Collection is the synthesis of technology and art. They are all hand-assembled and hand-finished. To satisfy the taste of more demanding clients, Citizen included two more exclusive and advanced, but also more expensive series, which is the Signature Collection and the Campanola, which will be an equivalent to Grand Seiko or Patek Philippe, something like Audemars Piguet. Citizen claims that the products from this series are true representatives of the rich heritage and embodiment of 92 years of watchmaking excellence. The representatives of the Japanese company also believe that timepieces from the Signature Collection clearly display why Citizen is one of the most prolific and successful in the history of timekeeping. The name of the collection comes from a medieval Latin word signatura, which was a mark that was given as an official mark to quality products. It is interesting that this word came into wider use in the middle of 16th century. This is exactly the same period when clockmakers began making smaller mechanisms, which ultimately resulted in the creation of wristwatches. Apparently, Citizen selected two superstars from the world of sports to be ambassadors of the Signature Collection, supposedly the greatest tennis players of all time, which is Kim Clijsters, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing correct, and the ambassador of male models is a multiple golf champion, Patrick Harrington. Getting the measurements out of the way, it's a 43 diameter, including the crown will be a 46, the lug width is 22, lug to lug is 47, and the thickness is 12 millimeters. The quality of this watch is significantly better than your regular Citizen ProMaster. It feels more quality. It's something that you cannot notice in camera so easily, but it definitely looks much better in real life. This is a Signature line, but being a diver, they are made more toolish, so it doesn't look as refined as other watches in the same Citizen Signature line, but you can still feel the quality on this one, and it definitely has the same DNA. So we have a brushed case, all around brushed, a polished bezel edge with a steel bezel which is machined. We have an iron-plated dial with polished applied indices and polished hands with an application of lume. We have a polished crown and we have a polished display back. I put a cellar tape to protect the crown. The case back from sometimes some needles are harsh and can damage the watch. I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep it or sell it, so I just wanted to protect the watch. We have a unidirectional bezel, and the bezel action is more luxurious than what you usually have on your typical Citizen ProMaster. It's very tight, fairly easy to turn, just the right amount, and it perfectly lines with no backplay. For the movement, we have a E764, which is the movement used on higher line Citizen, specifically used for this watch, and another Citizen line. It is a very interesting movement, similar to the Seiko Astron and similar to, for example, certain Highline G-Shocks with a smart crown. This means that it is not a conventional quartz. So for example, here in this position, if I pull out the crown to the first position, it's gonna go to the month and the year. So this is 12 December, January, February, and this represents some type of year, so the watch knows in what year it is. Therefore, the calendar, it will never be wrong. It's a perpetual calendar. If we pull out the crown to the third position, the second hand will go back to the 12th position and it will reset the seconds. If we push in the crown, the hand will go back to timekeeping. This is the only diver I have ever seen that has this kind of movement. It has a sapphire crystal with a sapphire cover lume pivot. It is eco drive and it's watertight, water resistance to 300 meters, which is really nice. Usually higher-end watches such as the Omega Master are 300 meters, so it's a very unusual thing to see in a diver of this price range. It has a button right here, so when you unscrew the crown and you push this button with a pen, it will give you the ability to change the time zone. So only the hour hand will change. It will change in 1 hour without losing the timekeeping. The watch comes in this very nice bracelet, and it's a machine. It has solid end links, and it has a inner section which is polished, and the rest of them is brushed. I took it out of the bracelet because I wanted to use the NATO, but the bracelet is actually very good. The wearability and comfort on this watch is much better than your usual diver, due to the fact that divers tend to be bigger and chunkier. I have very thin wrist, and this watch is no too big for my wrist. Especially, I usually struggle to find a good size divers because I like divers, but unfortunately many divers are very big. This wears much better than other divers. It's actually the best diver I ever tried after this Casio MDV 102. It's a 43, which is not too big, but due to the fact that the lug with it's smaller, it wears much better. So these compared to another Citizen Pro Master, it actually wears smaller than that. The legibility is pretty awesome. It's not difficult to read the time. It's actually fairly good due to the fact that the indices are loomed and are polished applied markers. This diver has the best combination of a toolish design, but at the same time a luxury aesthetic. If you notice, that dial has a very mesmerizing texture because of the iron plate, and sometimes the dial change colors and shows some colors under the sun. So this diver is really a functional diver, definitely capable of diving, but without losing the refinement that you will normally lose on other diver watches. I would definitely recommend this watch. To me, it's a stellar watch. It's definitely above from your regular Pro Master Citizen diving watches. If you're looking for a dive watch that is radiating quality and sophistication at the same time, then this is definitely a way to go, especially because it's the only type of dive watch that I ever seen that has this kind of movement inside. It's definitely much easier to readjust time. The accuracy is fairly good. It's around 10 seconds a month, so it's a little better than your usually quartz, but it has the advantage of being readjusted to the second in just one button. So you don't have to adjust anything. You just have to pull the crown, and whenever you're ready, you push it in again, and it starts from 12. Alright, so this has been Paul from Watch and Roll, and if you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. Give me a like if you like this video, subscribe if you think this is a quality content, and without further ado, I'll see you in the next one.